One of you guys emailed me this story and swore it was true. He said, I was supposed to drive back to Seattle from my grandfather's old house in Bellingham. The main highway was the usual route, but something was tugging at me. I remembered what my dad once said. Take the old road through the forest, Luke. It's beautiful. Shame to always skip it. So like some rookie, I gave in. Turned off the GPS and veered onto a dirt road with no signposts. It felt like the most forgotten path in America. The trees lined both sides like monsters, their branches reaching over the road and swallowing the sky. At first, everything was fine. The air was cool. I rolled down the window. An old Fleetwood Mac song was playing and the smell of damp earth filled the air. But slowly, the light dimmed. Clouds gathered. The first drops of rain hit. The car jolted suddenly. The check engine light came on, and I heard a clunk from under the hood. Seconds later, everything shut down. Music, lights, engine, gone. Just silence, except the rain hammering on the windshield. I tried starting the car a few times. Nothing. Just that dry, useless sound of the ignition trying and failing. Got out. Rain was heavier now. I popped the hood and stared like I had a clue. Truth is, I couldn't tell a wire from a washer. Rain trickled down my neck, soaking my shirt. Pulled out my phone. No signal. I paused. The forest stood still, like everything had died. No birds, no rustling leaves, no passing cars, nothing. I started walking down the road. No way back. No reason to stay. Walked for about half an hour. Soaked, tired, pissed, wondering how I'd survive a night in a cold car. That's when I saw headlights in the distance. Car was coming. Slowly, silently. No engine hum, no honk, no high beams. It pulled up beside me like it had materialized from the fog. I didn't wait for questions. I yanked open the back door and jumped in. I was so tired I didn't even look up. I just said, "Thanks, really. Thank you so much." Then I looked up. There was no one behind the wheel. The front seats were empty. No driver, no passenger. My breath caught in my chest. I reached for the door, but it was locked. At that moment, the car started moving. Smooth, silent, like it had a mind of its own. The road was getting narrower. The only light came from flashes of lightning. A sharp turn ahead. I screamed, "Stop! Stop, damn it!" But the car kept going. I shut my eyes. Thunder, wind, rain. Then, a hand appeared from the driver's window. Just a hand, thin, with long fingers. I grabbed the wheel and turned it, just in time to keep the car from flying off the cliff. I froze. My body went numb. That hand came from outside. It wasn't like a horror movie, it was worse, because it was real. Every time the car approached danger, the hand returned and gently turned the wheel, guiding us back to safety. I couldn't move, just shook in silence. Eventually, a warm yellow light appeared in the distance. Small wooden building in the middle of the dark. An old sign read, "Cedar Hollow Cafe." I kicked the car door open and threw myself out. Landed in the mud, but I didn't care. I got up and ran, water dripping from my pants, breath ragged. Burst through the cafe door and collapsed on the wooden floor. When I opened my eyes, a steaming cup of coffee was in front of me. An older man in a raincoat was staring down at me.
"You okay, son?"
I nodded weakly, took a deep breath and said, "I've got something to tell you." The cafe went silent. 5 people inside, the barista, an old woman, trucker, and 2 others. I told them everything. The driverless car, the hand, the turns, the fear. When I finished, no one said a word. Even the rain had stopped. Then the cafe door burst open. 2 soaked men stepped in, one in sweatpants, the other in a military-style jacket. The first guy looked around, then laughed out loud. He shouted, "Hey, Derek! That's the idiot who jumped into the car while we were pushing it and thought we were ghosts. I'd be grateful if you could like the video before I continue the story. I've thought about that damn night so much, I'm going crazy. Please, just listen to my story. I can't keep it to myself anymore. My name's Jack. I'm not a journalist, not a detective, not some thrill seeker. I'm just a nature photographer, someone whose camera speaks louder than he does. I spend most of my time in the mountains and forests where there's only silence and the sound of the wind. But that night I got stranded on a mountain road in Alaska, everything was different. It all started as a routine assignment. I was heading to Denali National Park for a photography project. Alaska's winter days are harsh, but I'm used to it. I'd prepared my old Jeep well in advance. Snow chains, warm blankets, food, and a portable heater. I never go into the wild unprepared. That night, I left later than I'd planned. The sky was dark, fog was rolling in, and a cold drizzle had started. I chose a mountain shortcut, thinking I'd reach a small rural lodge sooner that way. The road was rocky and slippery. The wind howled, bending the trees. There wasn't a single light in the distance. Around 10 p.m., in the middle of a sharp turn, my rear tire blew out. I didn't lose control, but I had to pull over. I got out. It was raining harder. With my flashlight in hand, I went to find a spare. Everything was wet and muddy, but as soon as I touched the bolts, I knew fixing the tire here would be close to impossible. I decided to stay in the car overnight. I reclined the seat, wrapped myself in a blanket, turned on the small heater. Outside, it was just the sound of rain and wind. Occasionally, the dull thud of branches falling. My phone had no signal and barely any battery left. All I had was a flashlight and the sound of my own heartbeat. My eyelids started getting heavy. It was around 1 a.m. Up until that point, I was just a little anxious, not scared. But then, things started happening. Things I can't chuck up to imagination. It was close to 3 a.m. when I suddenly woke up. I don't know what did it. Maybe the absolute silence? Or maybe a faint sound. Something specific. Like fingernails dragging across glass. I rubbed my eyes, sat up. At first, I thought the wind was shaking the window. But this sound, it was different. It was right next to the window, like someone was gently dragging a finger across the driver's side glass. The sound was so subtle that I wasn't even sure it was real. But it kept happening. A scrape, then silence, then again. My heart pounded. In that cursed darkness, the only light came from my dim watch screen. It read 3:06. My breath had fogged up the windshield. I wiped the circle with my sleeve. Outside, there was only mist and rain. The sound had now moved to the passenger side window. The exact same sound. The same motion. I couldn't take it anymore. I leaned forward, pressed my face close to the window to see. And that's when it happened. An eye. A huge, dark, lifeless eye. Pitch black. The kind of eye with no soul in it, no lights, no hope. Just emptiness. And it was staring straight at me. It didn't even blink. It wasn't just looking at me. It was looking through me, into my mind. I froze, couldn't scream, just stared. The eye lingered for a second, then vanished. No sound, no movement, just darkness again. I tried to breathe. Jack, maybe it was a dream, maybe the fog played tricks on you. But deep down, I knew better. That stare had been too real. I didn't sleep a wink the rest of the night. I didn't turn on any lights. I just sat there, staring ahead, waiting. Every now and then, I'd hear a faint tapping sound from somewhere around the car. Every time I looked, there was nothing. Eventually, the morning light crept in. The rain had stopped, but everything was gray and wet. Clouds still hung low. I stepped out of the car, looked around. No footprints, no signs of movement, no people. The ground around the Jeep was muddy but perfectly smooth. as if no one had been there all night. I was walking toward the back of the car when something caught my attention. The rear window. It was fogged up, but in the center of it, there was a mark. A handprint. Finger streaks. From the inside. If you want to hear more scary stories, make sure to subscribe so we can reach 1,000 subs soon and bring you more.